Anyway, we got, I don't know, 20 some odd minutes and like 4 theist callers to get to at least. Okay, this will probably be quick. David in California, you're on with Jenna and Matt.
Whoa.
It says here that you say slavery was completely morally acceptable.
Yes. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Slavery, as in owning other people as property, is completely morally acceptable?
I said it was.
Okay, you're wrong. Bye. I told you that'd be quick. We have Will in Pennsylvania with a question for me and Jenna. Does God believe in atheism? Is that what your question was, Will?
Yeah, that was the question. But I thought it was pretty classic that we had an atheist trying to straighten out a Satanist. Both live in darkness. If that ain't the definition of a house divided against itself.
It's not divided against itself. You know what I think was ironic? That I had another theist calling in to try to say that slavery was moral. Do you think slavery was moral?
Well, I'm not even.
Do you think slavery is moral?
Wait a minute. I haven't called to talk about that.
I'm asking you a question. Do you think slavery was moral?
Is it moral?
Yes.
In what sense? Does it go against God or does it go against man? In what sense?
Is there a difference?
Isn't your view that?
Yeah, it is. God and man is the same.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Owning other people as property, would you say that is morally permissible or not?
I would say if I was to own a slave, I'm going to probably do to him the things that God does not want me to do to him. So because of that, knowing that I'm sinful, God is going to give me some rules to follow, even in my disregard of listening to him or loving him.
Why didn't you?
That would be my answer.
Why is it so difficult to say that owning people as property is immoral?
Because I don't think he thinks that.
I did say that, didn't I?
It didn't sound like it.
That, but I explained it through answering the question.
No,
you added a bunch of other stuff. I said, do you think...
a bunch of other stuff. I
said, do you think that slavery is immoral? Do you think owning another person is immoral?
And what did I say about my stuff?
I don't know, but it wasn't yes.
Or no.
Sometimes you can't get the answers exactly how you want them.
Really?
But you can still...
Is it okay to rape people? Is it okay to rape people?
What you say?
Is it okay to rape people?
No.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Why couldn't you just say that about slavery? Like, is that so hard?
You know why? Because the Bible advocates for slavery.
So we're going to justify it in whatever way we can.
Exodus 21. Woo. Hey, you think slavery is immoral? The last guy that called in was a theist saying it was moral. Talk about a house divided.
Maybe they should call each other.
Yeah, you guys work it out and then call us back. And your question, does God believe in atheism, is a ridiculous question, because if there is no God, then of course God doesn't believe in atheism. And if there is a God, then he does believe in atheism, because atheism is the position of people who don't believe that a God exists. If you understood any of that, you wouldn't look so ridiculous, and you wouldn't have to do a candy-ass tiptoe dance around a simple question about whether or not owning people as property is
He didn't
moral.
want to answer that question, though.
I think that God knows that I would mistreat my slaves, so God will give me rules about how to not mistreat my slaves. Hey, why doesn't God give you a rule to not have fucking slaves? How weak and pathetic is your God that he's like, well, they're going to have slaves, so maybe I should tell them, don't beat the slaves so much that they die within a day or two, but you can beat them as long as they live more than a day or two. That's a ridiculous... I'm so done with that crap. Carlos in Florida, you're on with Jenna and Matt.
Hi, Carlos.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, let's see.
In all fairness, I mean, you guys didn't really give these guys an opportunity to explain their perspective on slavery.
What's your perspective on slavery?
Is it immoral to own people as property?
It is absolutely immoral.
So, okay, then we were already at a better starting point than we were with the other two.
Now, does the Bible allow and permit the owning of other human beings as property?
The Old Testament allows it. Yes.
Okay, why couldn't you just say yes?
Well, because there's a difference in that distinction.
Does the New Testament change the rules on slavery?
Correct.
Where?
Well, I can't give you the
You're damn right you can't, because it doesn't. And also, why would God be so wrong about... Shut up. Why would God be so wrong about slavery for so long and then correct it?
brother, listen, there's no reason to open up a dialogue like that. You're trying to...
Yeah.
This show is going to end really quickly because theists cannot be honest on this subject. And they don't know what their Bible says. And I don't need to go through this. I've already done 25,000 talks on slavery.
Yep. There's a lot of older videos y'all can all three go watch. Just type Matt Dillahunty slavery. I'm
sure by next month somebody will put together a 6-hour
right.
Here's Matt on slavery. And the number of times I ask people, is it immoral to own people? And very few times will we get a yes, clearly, and quickly. See, the truth of the matter is the Bible advocates slavery. Oh, wait, you said advocates, Matt. It doesn't say that you should have slaves. It not only does not say that you should not have slaves, it specifically tells you to buy your slaves from the heathen that surround you. It has a separate set of rules for Jewish slaves than it does for non-Jewish slaves. It allows you to beat your slaves as long as they don't die within a couple days. It allows you to pass them on to your children because they are your money or property. It is a parade of injustice. And when somebody calls in and say, oh, that's the Old Testament. Well, the New Testament doesn't change that. Jesus doesn't say a word about, hey, you know what? You know that stuff we wrote in Exodus where the Father said that you can own slaves? That was wrong. I don't know who wrote that down, but let's correct that right now. Slavery has been going on for generations and generations and generations, and you guys have used this book to say that slavery is okay, and I, Jesus Christ, am here to tell you today, you guys got it wrong, and slavery is not moral. What kind of weak-ass God fails to correct such an obvious error? What kind of weak-ass God creates a 10 Commandments where the first one is, I'm your daddy, worship me, don't have any other gods before me, don't have any idols. And then there's a couple good ones like, don't lie, don't kill, but don't covet. Well, coveting is what the United States runs on, and it's what motivates people, hey, to keep up with the Joneses. Why isn't there one of the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not own a human being? Oh, gosh, we didn't think of that. It's embarrassing. It's the reason that I harp on this one thing. Oh, well, you didn't give them a chance to finish. You're damn right I didn't, because we've talked about it ad nauseum. And if you call in and you want to talk about slavery, and you say anything other than slavery is immoral, and then explain why the Bible is advocating for something that is immoral, I don't need to talk to you. Nobody does, because you have sacrificed your morals and your humanity on the altar of a fictional God that is a jackass to women, to minorities, to non-Jews, etc., that advocates for infinite torment for finite crimes, that has a blood magic obsession of bring forward to me the animals and cut them open and burn them so that the pleasing smell of their blood. It's not barbecue. It is supposed to be a path for remission of sins. Oh, well, we've killed too many of the animals, so now I'm going to come down and take human form and sacrifice myself to myself as the ultimate sacrifice. So it's just nonsense. And if you don't see that you are advocating for a book that clearly has immoral passages in there, you should pay attention. But if you're the type of theist, if you're the type of Christian, because I'm not going to beat Muslims up for what the Christian Bible says, if you're the type of Christian that thinks there are things in the Bible that are wrong, as is the case when Ray Comfort called in years ago, and I talked to him about slavery, and Ray's answer was, well, I don't believe everything that's in the Bible. And that's a great answer, except for one big problem. What method do you use to figure out which parts of the Bible are right and which ones are wrong? If Moses writes 613 commandments, which ones do you get to ignore and why? If the Bible lets you have slaves and you don't think that's moral, which of the other things do you get to dismiss? And the truth is, every one of you Christians sitting out there, has invented a religion and a God of your own. You agree with the things that your conscience tells you is correct. I remember as a kid running around every time we'd move and we'd have to go pick out a new church. And we would go and we would visit a number of churches. You know which one we ended up with? Whatever one my mom liked the preacher best at. Mm-hmm. There was no criteria for determining who is actually preaching the word. It was which one made me feel better.
Or closer.
Well, yeah, which one was closest to the house? Which one made me feel better? Which one had the more charismatic sort of minister? Which one had more children at the church for my children to play with? Stop bullshitting yourselves and stop bullshitting the rest of us. You have no mechanism for determining what in the Bible you should accept and what you shouldn't. So you either need to take it all or throw it the fuck out. And that's exactly what the rest of us have done. And we're waiting for you to re-embrace your humanity and come and join us in the 21st century, because there's big shit coming down the pike, and your religion is standing in the way of us coming to the right conclusions and being able to work cooperatively toward a better world.
Yep.
And that was much better than the callers.
We got one left.
I'm going to save Kevin for last, but I want to get to Debbie in New England. Thanks for waiting through that tirade. How are you?
Hi, Debbie.
No, I want the transcript of that tirade.
You can have it.
I want to memorize it so I can use it.
I'm too lazy to do it, but somebody might.
Oh, my gosh. Listen.